In this medical drama, a surgeon losing a patient and saying the wrong thing snowballs and threatens not only her career, but maybe also her personal life. So to summarize the film, in Australia, specifically at the Auckland Central Hospital, Elizabeth Taylor is one of the top surgeons, and with that, she has a bit of notoriety that she definitely exploits. But after a simple surgery goes awry because of her registrar, Richard, she makes the unfortunate mistake of trying to be very cold and blunt when it comes to the patient's parents who are in mourning. Because of this, they start asking questions. Things begin to snowball, and due to the fact that Richard is very new and emotional when it comes to what happened to the patient, and Elizabeth hasn't made many friends, especially amongst Andrew, who's the chief of surgery and definitely has a few bones to pick with her, things become very difficult for Elizabeth rather quickly. And so comes the question of, especially as Australia begins to make shifts in how data in the medical field are seen and treated, there comes questions of whether the life she has lived as an acclaimed surgeon may soon go down the garbage chute, and with that, maybe the life that she has built up that may not have a lot going for it, but what little it did have going for it was deeply rooted in how well her career did. So the first highlight when it comes to a mistake is the pacing. And I'm highlighting the pacing because this is a medical drama for the most part. So you would think between medical jargon, the depiction of procedures, stoic attitudes of doctors, and the bureaucracy of running and protecting the hospital from malpractice, this would possibly get bogged down with a lot of overwhelming information and technical terms. But that's not the case here. While there is medical jargon, it is used to show how cold medicine can be and how removed doctors can be from their patient. And in the process of dealing with middle managers' bureaucracy, this gives birth to people like Elizabeth who, when it comes to Elizabeth thinks she can keep things engaging, at the same time she's working with this character who, I don't know how she does it, but she keeps, well, actually, partly thanks to Andrew, I get how she does it, but she's able to keep it from ever slowing down to the point where you're ready to start checking your watch or rather your phone nowadays and seeing when is this going to be up. And this brings us to the second highlight, which is Andrew and Elizabeth's spats. There are at least 4 major verbal altercations between them, and when I tell you, they're kind of hilarious because Elizabeth don't give a damn about Andrew's title, barely respects him as a person, and yet both kind of recognize they need each other. Elizabeth is one of the top surgeons around in her field, so keeping her in the hospital allows for, donations, prestige. So Andrew, in some ways, wants to keep her for that. And on the other end, Elizabeth kind of needs Andrew to kind of back her because, yes, she might be this notable surgeon, but at the same time, if your hospital doesn't support you, your chief of surgery doesn't support you, and they just let you kind of take the hit in some kind of way, and it's especially because you keep saying or doing stuff that makes it seem like you're going to be a liability, especially when it comes to public relations, it kind of takes away from any positive thing that you can spend in terms of, yeah, I have a lot of attitude, but I deliver. And because both of them are kind of walking that line where they know that there's a bit of a mutually assured destruction, you can see Elizabeth really push how far she can take things with Andrew, and at times you can see his willingness to kind of screw her over, yet at the same time, this kind of question of, should I really do it? Because I don't know how to affect my job, affect the hospital. But at the same time, somebody needs to put her in her place and show her that she can't just say and do what she wants. And that fighting, which almost becomes like sibling bickery, is so much fun to watch that it really drives this film to the point that, again, even with all the medical jargon, you seeing what or why Elizabeth has become this hearted doctor, it just keeps things flowing and you so entertained over the about 101-minute runtime. But with that said, the catalyst for all this drama, which is a character named Lisa dying, and then you throw in Richard's issues and then Lisa's parents and all that, it doesn't do much for the film. I mean, can you feel bad for Lisa? Can you feel bad for her parents? Maybe relate to the situation if you dealt with hospitals in a negative light? Probably. But without that experience, at least for me, I get the value of Lisa and her story. But it's not something that really becomes something that's valuable past the catalyst. And then when you talk about Richard, the registrar, which I believe in Australia possibly translates to, a doctor in training, he's more of a challenge. He's not someone I can easily spend for. As much as I get that part of showing Elizabeth still has some form of humanity is her taking responsibility for him, I wouldn't say much is driving an investment in Richard. Similar to Lisa, there's not much given for you to care. On paper, you're supposed to care. Richard is going through it because this is probably one of the first patients he lost. Lisa died because of a mistake that he made, and you get it. But the film isn't about him. The film isn't really about Lisa. I mean, she, again, is a catalyst, but who is she? Why? I mean, it could just be a sense that my empathy doesn't go far enough to care about Lisa and Richard because everything is focused on what Elizabeth goes through and her back and forth for Andrew, which is the main highlight of the film. But either way, I feel like Lisa and Richard, as much as they push things forward, they're also held back as characters to the point where Lisa dies early on, but when it comes to Richard, he's just this agitating kid who kind of messes up the pacing and flow of the film every time he pops up. Overall, when it comes to Elizabeth Banks, she delivers a notable performance that delivers laughs, beautiful, so wonderful come-ups, and at the same time quality drama. But strangely, when it comes to a mistake, the main thing you think the film will be about, in terms of the patient who was lost or how this one assistant doctor feels, which kind of pushes everything into really snowballing, it's not about them, and they really become almost an afterthought despite how much of all the stuff that Elizabeth's character goes through is based off of what happened to those two people and also Lisa's parents.